You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. If you're going to be an entrepreneur or a rebelpreneur in today's environment, you have got to build some skills that will set you up for success. We talk a lot about mindset. There's different aspects of mindset, but one in particular is resilience, the ability to bounce back and to overcome obstacles and to consistently show up and do the work until you achieve the business you need so that you can live the life that you want. So the question becomes, how do we build resilience? And today's guest is going to help us learn that very valuable skill. I'm speaking with Susan Sheehan. She is an international speaker, a high-performance and wellness coach for over 30 years, and as a two-time No.1 Bestselling Author, Susan has established and has had businesses in Australia, New Zealand, and the USA, encompassing both coaching and other ventures. She is renowned as an authority on brain training, personal branding, professional profiling, and the entrepreneurial mindset. She's going to talk to us today about the 7 S's to building resilience. Susan, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it is late evening where I am in the USA. It is early morning where you are in Australia. Is that right?
Yes, it's 7 a.m. on a beautiful, what's today, Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning and still Monday evening here. So I just love these international guests and the ability we have to talk to people all over the planet that we may not have a chance to meet face to face, but technology brings us together. And so thank you for getting up early in the morning and spending some time with us.
Well, it's an opportunity to inspire, and you know, if you can help one person go, aha, I get that, I can go do that, then I'm living my purpose if I can achieve that. Every time I speak or get interviewed, that's what it's all about. And I love the name of the show.
Oh, thank you.
I think Rebelpreneur really encompasses me to a T.
Wonderful. Well, then you are a good fit. You are in the right place. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do and who you help.
Well, I've grown up. I guess I've just grown up in the world of being an entrepreneur. I've been a coach for 30 years, and I've always said that my children were the reason I do what I do. They inspired me and moved me into my career. It wasn't like, what do I want to do? But it was something I grew into because of, I guess, the story around my own journey with my life and my children. And I've always been able to connect with people. I was a child that brought home children that didn't have friends, not the child that brought home animals that needed feeding. And so I think I've just always been in exactly the right place, you know. And as we go through life and we experience our own ups and downs, you know, we can either learn and grow from it or not. We have a choice. And I decided that, you know, I buried a daughter. And the day that I buried my daughter, I remember saying to myself, oh my God, this is so big and hard. There has to be a meaning for this. And I have to make her little life mean something, and I have to rise above the pain so that I'm not pulled down into the pain. And I was only 23 when I made that profound statement. But I know that it has been an unconscious driver for my life, because I've always been able to do that. And so it's just, I've just gone from one step to the other step to the next step. When I was younger, I didn't really think about it. I just always followed that gut feeling. I guess that I used to do, and then I'd think, oh my gosh, did I do that? Oh my gosh, did I do that? But I remember my very first coach that I worked with spent $30,000 to learn how to think, and I think that's just always the point that I've always made, that I've grown up in the world of coaches, and everything that I have learned about myself has been because I've invested in coaching, and I've grown up in some area with a coach. So, I started off, I found fitness. I have a son with an intellectual disability. He was born with 3 parts of his brain damage, multiple food allergies, and he had a seizure every 20 minutes. And I just used to walk out the front door and go, okay, what do I need to learn today? And again, I was only 25 at the time, so I didn't know the questions to ask. I didn't know who was going to answer them for me. But this is, I guess, the lesson that I learned, which is a big success lesson, is that we need to be curious. And even though I didn't know at the time that curiosity was a success strategy, I just went out and asked questions to help me and mine. And my son is now drug-free, allergy-free, and seizure-free. So I just I've experienced things, and I've just gone through, as I said, from step to step. And honestly, if I would be a squillionaire now if I had $1 for every time somebody said to me, Susie, you're so strong. It's like, well, no, I just have a brain. I call them brain anchors. Very simple one-liners that push you forward. Is what do I need to do? What do I need to do better? What do I need to do to feel better? What do I need to do to have better? And it's always been that one question, with that word better, that just keeps me moving forward into what I need to learn or do at the time.
Wonderful. And so now you're helping people to make those distinctions as well. Tell us about resilience. I gave kind of a layman's definition of resilience, but describe for us, in your perspective, what resilience is and what it means to people who are trying to achieve their life and business goals.
Well, yes, absolutely. It was. I call them the 7 S's to resilience, because it's a simple framework that people can remember. I've been asked to speak on mental well-being and resilience, and on the 5th time I was asked to speak on the subject, I thought I've got to put this into a framework so I can repeat all of the facts that people need to know, and people can write them down, because the brain likes simplicity, so I needed to simplify the process. So that's where the 7 S's came from. But I was always curious to why some people seem to have the Midas touch to success, and other people, do the work and never quite grasp hold of what they wanted. I remember I had a program that I launched around Australia. I had 5,000 women online. It was a menopause program for women, actually. And I was making money, and, we were helping a lot of women, but I never hit that $1 million in sales at that point. And I thought, what is wrong? What is not working? The business plan says that we're doing the work. It's all happening, but why am I hitting that $1 million in sales at that point? What is not working? And again, I asked myself the question, and I can see myself standing there frustrated out on my deck going, why is this not working? And the answer that came back in my unconscious was, you don't deserve it. So which is, it's like, well, we all deserve it, right? So what was the story that was telling me that I wasn't? So that's the first step to resilience, is what is that story that is driving your life? We all have this unconscious tale that defines who we are and how we live our life. It decides whether we build success or deserve success or achieve success. And this unconscious tale, it's on replay. It's on replay, unless we make the conscious decision to change it. I think it was Morris Massey identified that we are given our unconscious default belief system from the age of 0 and 7, and then we just we just write new pages in that story every day. But we can choose at any given time to close that book and write a new story. And, Einstein said that imagination is more powerful than knowledge, but science now proves that it is. So that story, that first essence of story, is the story that's driving your life, that forms your beliefs, serving you, or is it causing you to not to believe that you don't deserve success, that, you're not worthy of it, you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too short, you're too old. What are the excuses that is driving your life, that's causing you to live a life less than what you want to live? And because my curiosity got me interviewing celebrities and really looking into, what is really going on there, what is the story that drives these people? And, they just have rewritten the story so that they can live the life that they want. And yes, you've got to be a bit of a rebel to make that happen. So that's the first step. What is the story that's driving you? And do you need to close the old book and rewrite a new book so that you can live the life that you want to live?
Good. Excellent. So how do we...
So the second... No, sorry. Yes.
No, I was agreeing. Absolutely. If you want to change your life, you have to change your story, especially the story that you tell yourself.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. It's so true. And people get confused between the brain and the mind. So we look at the brain as being the bridge, and your bridge needs to be going in the right direction. It needs to be made of the right stuff, and it needs to be unbreakable. Your mind is the vehicle that takes you there, and that needs to be resilient and unstoppable. Your belief system is the engine that drives it, and that has all these different parts in it, like an engine. An engine has all these parts, and your belief system is the same. It has all of these different parts. And for the engine to run smoothly, you need to get all those parts working as one, and that's literally what happens in the unconscious. And then your passion and your purpose is what fuels this whole vehicle. So, that story that's why it's the first step, because it's very, very, very prominent in the outcome that people either get results or they don't. The second death is self-awareness. We have to be aware of ourselves. We have to be okay with going inside self and really looking at our strengths and looking at our weaknesses and being true to ourselves. Authenticity is an asset in this world of business today. And even though we live in this AI world, being authentic, I think, is a powerful asset. And we have to help more people really be okay with who they are, be okay with stepping out in front of the lie that most people pretend to live behind, and really identify, who am I? Who am I today? And if I want to live this life in this new story, and if I really truly want to be this person I was born to be, then I need to know who I am today. I need to be aware of my strengths and my weaknesses and be okay every day stepping out to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, so absolutely.
That's the second S. The third S is stress management. Stress management is a big one. And the more that we care about self, then the easier it is to manage the stressors. So, this is where we have to be aware of, what we eat. And it's all about well-being, mental well-being. It's all about physical well-being. It's the food we eat, the supplements we take, the exercise we do. How do we actually manage our stressors? Do we have a daily ritual that we work with? Health and fitness, health and wellness, mental and physical well-being, it is a success strategy. And this is not an opinion. It's an absolute fact. A wellness and well-being program will help you manage stressors. It will help you perform at peak performance so you can be a high achiever. Nobody achieves success when they feel unfit, fat, flabby, unfulfilled, fed up, frumpy.
That's right.
It just doesn't work. And stressors certainly don't. Stressors become monumental, and mountains are hard to climb. So, a health and well-being program is essential to manage stressors and to build success. So that's the third S. The fourth S is a sense of purpose. One must have a sense of purpose. We've got the Olympics on at the moment, and it inspires me. These athletes inspire me. and one of the Australian swimmers who came 7th in Tokyo really didn't cope mentally well with that. So he got a well-being coach and he worked with his team. And so he's come to Paris with a whole new mindset around who he is and what he can achieve. Maybe feeling a little bit more resilient to the pressures around where he is. But his brain anchor is advanced, unafraid. That's one of his brain anchors, advanced, unafraid. And then before he went out to swim his first race, he wrote on his hand purpose. Because he said the swim was only one event in life that he had to do the best that he could, that his life was so much more than that one swim. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a great analogy for business and life, right? Because we have to have a purpose. We have to see more than ourselves if we truly want to live a life that's worthy of living. If we truly want to live the life that we were born to live, we have to see something bigger than self.
Yes.
And on my journey of interviewing successful people and, getting up front and close and personal with some of the A-list people of this world, whether it be business, music, drama, whatever the industry or context, is that they all have a purpose bigger than themselves. And I know my purpose has got me up every day and driven me forward through challenges that sometimes the mountain's so big you can't see the other side of it. But when you have that purpose, this is when your superpower, your imagination comes into play. Because your brain has to see something. And if your brain does not see something bright, beautiful, magnificent every day, your brain will bring images of the old story, bring it into today. You connect emotionally to it, and you believe it's real today. So your imagination is a superpower, but it can be used like all superpowers. It has a positive and a negative. So you can use your imagination to magnify something beautiful that you can grow forward to, or you can use your imagination to magnify a fear that will cause you to sink deeper into the pains and the problems rather than to go forward. So imagination is a superpower. It allows you to create a vision of your purpose. And once that brain sees that vision of the purpose, then what you need to do to get there is inconsequential. For me, a life-changing moment, and it was a moment in time when I realized that the life that I wanted to live was waiting for me. I just needed to become the person I needed to be to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And to do that, we have to, the brain has to see it. Your brain has to see something, so the brain has to see it. So, dream building is one part of it, but dream building alone doesn't work. And willpower alone doesn't work because the brain has to, that dream has to turn into a vision. We need to become a visionary of our life. We need to become a visionary of our business. And you think of any of the A-list, Richard Branson, I'm sure you know this, he created every business in his mind, created every business in absolute detail, and then got excited about unfolding it in the physical world. I mean, and if we could help more people, just, the biggest problem, and it's that easy, is that most people don't know what they want. So what is your heart-pumping core desire is the question I ask everybody. Now let's turn that into a vision. Now, what's the first step you need to do to just go and start unfolding it in your life? So the next S, powerful. The next S is we have to become smarter. We have to become smarter. If resilience is one of the definitions, isn't it? It's mental strength, falling down, get back up. But if we don't become smarter when we get back up, we're going to keep falling down the same way. The same hole's going to keep popping up that we're going to fall down into, right? So we have to become smarter as we get up. We get up, we look around, and I think we've all been guilty of making the same mistake over and over. So what I realised that through becoming smarter, opening our mind to listening to people that are achieving what we want to achieve, to learning what we need to do better, strengthening those weaknesses. Stop focusing on what your strengths are, because our strengths are unconscious. They're already set. The neural pathways are there. the images are in place. We've got to get up every day and strengthen our weaknesses. I spent $50,000, and I say this seriously with a smile. I spent $50,000 working with a coach, and that coach was actually John Assaraf, to be told that my brain didn't see numbers. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I saw people, but I didn't see numbers. And the reason that program that I hadn't generated the $1 million because I wasn't doing the numbers. I saw the people, but I I didn't see the numbers of people. And so that was a really big, huge lesson for me, is I had to train my brain to see numbers. Now, you're not going to come and pay me to do a spreadsheet, but I know how to read my spreadsheets now, and I just focus on the numbers. So, we have to be smarter. We've got to be okay with knowing what our weaknesses are and get up every single day and be okay with letting go of what's not working. And remember, we're rewriting that story. So as we rewrite that story, we're becoming smarter at what we need to do better. So that's the fifth S. The sixth S is we have to be stronger. We have to, as we keep moving forward, we keep growing forward, we have to become stronger. And I call them the power twins. We have to be grateful and we have to forgive. And I think that if we wake up every morning being grateful for what we have, for who we are today, I always ask for forgiveness before I start the day because I know I'm going to muck up somewhere. But because they're human beings, right? So perfectionism is something that we'll never get to. But I do think that the power twins of being grateful and forgiveness make us stronger. Because being grateful, the energy is great. When you see something we're grateful for, straight away we're in this beautiful, abundant energy. And forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. If we don't forgive ourselves, if we don't forgive others, this just eats us up inside. It fuels a negative pit in the bottom of your stomach that weakens you. It weakens you. So forgiveness and gratefulness, I think, are two, what I call the power twins, that really can help you build that inner strength, and live in the right energy that attracts success.
Yeah.
And the final S is to seek help if this is needed. To seek help, be okay with asking for help. I had a client once who asked me to go to a church meeting with her. She belonged to the church, and she asked me to go, and I did. And I really connected with the pastor of the church. She was a beautiful woman, and she said to me, would you come and work with the woman in the church? And I said, yeah, I'd like to. Now I'm a Christian, but I didn't at that time belong to a church. Anyway, I went along and I said, so what would you like me to do? She said, well, you have to be part of the church, and this is our expectation. Well, that didn't actually sit with me. It wasn't where I felt that I wanted to be. I think finding a church is something that you've got to connect with, and you got to feel that that's where you belong. And I didn't have that feeling,
right.
So I thanked her very much and said, look, if you would like to, I'm here if you'd like to, but this just doesn't feel like the right fit for me at the moment today. I just wasn't going to do it. Anyway, 3 months later, it was a Sunday afternoon. I just turned on the computer, got an email, and I had an email from this woman. Now, I hadn't had a conversation with her since, but this random email, and all it said was, please always remember, Sue, that even helpers need helpers. And it was like, whoa, okay, well, there's a lesson I probably need to have. And sometimes we get these random lessons from people that just come out of the blue. And I think when we step out into the world with this curiosity and desire to be the best that we can be, to make a difference to the world, to live our purpose, that we get these messages and we're open to hearing them. So seek help is the seventh S. Be okay with asking for help, because even helpers need helpers. So those are the 7 S's.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's important. The last one you said, seek help. That ties back into number 2, self-awareness. You have to be aware of your limitations and acknowledge them, and not be afraid to reach out and to get help from people who have been there, done that, can help you get through whatever it is you're trying to work through. And being self-aware enough to do that. And that it helps you become smarter and stronger. All of these elements are really working together to help you build the resilience so that you can continue on your success journey for personal and for professional and business goals. So this has been.
I think the very first lesson that I ever had, and I wasn't even in business at the time, was that your life will change and your business will grow as fast as you grow personally. And so personal development needs to be, it's a necessity for more people to embrace and to get involved in if they want to grow successfully. Because
Sure.
Without personal development, without developing self, it will never happen.
And especially if you are a rebelpreneur or a solopreneur or running a small team, it absolutely has a lot to do with you and where you are. So this is really important stuff. Susan, you are also a best-selling author. Before we close, tell our listeners about your book.
My book, I wrote actually, I co-authored a book with 9 other women pre-COVID. But through COVID, I wrote a book called Fast Track Your Brain Power for Ultimate Success Reset. So it just really talks about my story. It's quite amusing. There's little snippets of the story, but just what you need to do to train your brain. It's really grade 7 language based on neuroscience, based on my own journey of how you can train your brain so that you are waking up every day knowing what to do. Brain training. We have seven ingredients to success. Do what it takes. Lose the excuses. Fall in love with being uncomfortable, because all success grows in the state of discomfort, as you know. Implement fast. Procrastination is the killer of success. So implement fast. Be mindful. Mindfulness is a big topic, and mindfulness is powerful healing. But to be mindful means that our 2% conscious brain is overriding the 98% pain and crap that could be driving your life. So we must be mindful every day of what we need to do to strengthen those weaknesses. Otherwise, that unconscious will take over. That unconscious will take over.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got be coachable. So really open your mind to being coachable, to listening, learning, letting go. And it's when we bring these 7 ingredients together, that is when we can wake up every morning. And I guess it's all about having that work ethic, isn't it? That you can, and look, the most challenging thing we do is I think to listen. We have to be okay with being coachable, and I think that's why coaching is so powerful, because we always know, as human beings, we can always do more than what we think we can. And when you work with a coach, we can help push through those days. If I don't want to do this, it's too freaking hard. But here's the secret, and this is a big secret, that when you have a vision of where you're going and you believe that it's possible, you believe it's there, you believe you have it in you to do it, and you believe that and you have a purpose, this actually pulls you forward. So it's not always a pushing. When you know what you want and you believe that you can have it and it's there in bright, beautiful colour, all you've got to do is press play, and this movie of where you're going comes up in your brain, panoramic and gorgeous, then that will pull you forward. And so it's not always a game of pushing. But you know what? We are bombarded with 2 million bits of negative information every moment of every day. And so, having coaches, listening to your show, it all helps us just to believe in ourselves and to keep taking that step forward.
Yeah, that's the key. That's what we have to do. Lots of tools and lots of good information and a great deal of wisdom. How can our listeners get in touch with you, Susan, find out more about you and your work and all the things that you have available to help them on their journey? My website is meetsusansheehan.com. So just
susansheehan.com, and that will get you to me. You can download my book, reach out to me, contact me. My phone number's on that page. And yes, look, it doesn't cost anything to have a conversation, and it's all about just seeing that first step. What is that first step that you need to take so that you're opening the door to possibility? And each step you take, that possibility becomes realer. There's a word for you. There's a new word, realer, in your mind. And the further consequent steps that just becomes like, I can do this. You build your confidence with every step that you take. So a conversation, and then the doors to possibility start to open until they become like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do this. And you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing this. And that's the mental shift, isn't it? To not believing you can, to seeing the possibility, to then going, I can do this. Oh my gosh, I am doing this.
Absolutely.
And I think when we get people to that point, then we're making a difference.
Yes, and anything is possible at that point. Susan Sheehan is an international speaker, high performance and wellness coach for over 30 years. She's a best-selling author, and she is a renowned authority on brain training, personal branding, professional profiling, and the entrepreneurial mindset. Susan, thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your wisdom with us on Rebelpreneur Radio today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.